This is David. Welcome back behind the velvet rope. Let's just get right into it today because we are joined by the one, the only Miss Leva Bonaparte.
Hi.
As I lose my voice, how are you? Welcome.
Thank you
Southern
for having
Charm Season 8. Well, thank you for being here. I mean, it's your second season, Leva.
Yes. Crazy.
It's crazy, right? How was this season different for you?
Oh, it's so different. I mean, it's so different on every level. Obviously, last year was like I don't want to say insane. I hate using that word, but it was wild. It was a wild ride. It was like, we're up, we're on, we're filming, we're not, we're down. Oh, it's COVID. Oh, wait, just kidding. Not COVID. Oh, wait. Yes, COVID, it was a lot. And then it was so like, we only saw each other. So we're sitting in this like 6 people radius and having these arguments again and again. And then everyone's stressed out and nobody really is able to, everyone was just it was such a weird year last year. And then this year we're coming off of COVID. So, I'm coming in thinking like, live our best lives. We're all going to get along. I'm so happy. Also probably not being fully aware of like how stressed out I am because I'm just trying to live my best life, but also like recalibrating to being out with friends. Like I remember Kathryn's party. I was like, whoa, this is a lot of people, because we hadn't, really been around a ton of people or like just public places being open and then recalibrating to like friendships in real life, like what do you say? How do you just like hugging so many people? Like it was all just, it's weird. I think nobody took stock of that. And so I think all of us like sort of recalibrating to all that and going back to work and, getting our businesses back together and then seeing friends we hadn't seen in a long time with all these new life changes. So new boyfriends, breakups, makeups, moving, like coming back to town. It was like a lot. It was a lot.
That is a lot. I mean, sometimes people come into reality TV their first season not really knowing what to expect. And then, they go away and they kind of are like, I get it. I get how these OGs play the game. Like, okay, like, did you come back and like feel like a different person just having gone through the experience and knowing how certain people are?
Yeah, I mean, I think I did and I didn't. Like and it's funny because a lot of people ask me like why I don't feel like I play the game. I feel like I don't have the bandwidth to play the game. Like I'm just like, I am too tired in like real life to even figure out what your stupid plan is. Like all I know is I don't like what you said, or I don't think you're being nice, or hey, let's just be friends. This doesn't matter, or like, let's have a good time. So I do think that there's a lot of and it's funny because I get accused of like being agenda driven or being whatever, but I'm like, I really don't have time, bro. Like I'm running here. Like the fact that I can even have some social time is like a big deal. So I certainly do not have time to think about how I'm going to maneuver my social experience. So I do think that the only thing I came in knowing is just that, at the end of the day, this is going to be like a synopsis of who I am. And I just have to accept that. It was difficult for me to digest that last year because I wanted to give context and I wanted to give the rest of the conversation and, okay, I'm an over talker. So, like I want you guys to know all the bits and pieces and just, going through it and being like, okay, well, they're going to hear it's a 45-minute episode and we filmed quite a bit at this party and they're going to just hear parts of it. And, hopefully people will be conscious of that. So that was more what I went in thinking, which I think maybe made me a little bit even more myself, maybe.
Why do you think there's that disconnect of, like you said, you're busy, you're running restaurants, which we'll get into in a second, like you have a real day job, and you are just being yourself. And then people are accusing you of like maybe playing the game or having some agenda behind the scenes.
Yeah, it's funny because I do think that some people have the time to do that. And I just don't. I'm either like, I like you or I don't, or I'm invested in you, or like, we can be cool, but I'm not invested in you. Like I don't care what you say unless it's like something that needs to be checked, but essentially like you make different decisions than I do. But the group's a lot younger than me, like they're in their early 30s and I'm in my, almost in my mid 40s. So it's just a different life space. So I genuinely the ones that are my friends, I genuinely see them as my friends. And so I don't really have a game plan, but somehow people always, I don't know. I think people just seem to think that I have one. And I'm like, I'm really not here to like compete with you or do whatever, or have an agenda. Like I think I've always shown you that I'm genuinely my friend, but I think that I have a temper. So like, if I get pissed off, I say shit. I don't know. I'm working on it. And I'm a little bossy, you know, like we all know this. I didn't get here by mistake. So I think that sometimes they think those things are planned, but I'm like, I wish they were planned, because those things that come out of my mouth are like the most unplanned version of me. So,
well, listen, at the end of the season, you know, people noticed on social media you unfollowed Kathryn and Craig and Austen and Madison and Paige to Sorbo. So I guess we're going to see some drama this season on Southern Charm, which we could also see from the trailer and what we've seen so far.
Yeah. I think you're going to see drama the entire season, not even just the last episode. I think by then I had just grown tired of a few things. And it was like, I didn't think any blogger was going to pick that up. I did that for my personal like mental health, because I was just like, I am tired of these games, you know, like I'm just trying to talk about my feelings. And I just don't like, my biggest pet peeve is like when like, let's say 3 people are angry at one person and then 3 other people pile on. I'm like, is that really necessary? Because like I will stand in defending a person I don't even agree with if like 5 people are up against them. You know what I mean? Because I don't maneuver that way. So to me, I think sometimes that group can do that. And I don't know if it's just like a maturity thing or what it is, but that's one thing that I was just like, all right, I need a little space. I don't need to like your selfies right now. I need a little space from your face.
Well, welcome to the Bravo fandom. They notice everything, Leva. So there you go.
Ow.
What about, you know, you are a happily married woman. Shout out to Lamar. Like we have a lot of relationships here. You know, we know that like Kathryn and Caleb are no longer together. You know, it seems from the trailer that Olivia is with Austen. Paige has made her entrance. Naomi's back in town. Shep is with, you know, who do you think needs the most help from you as a happily married woman? Which of your castmates, or just 1 or 2 that could really use some relationship advice from Leva?
I don't think any of them are like there yet. They're not in the deep waters, any of them. You know what I mean? They're like in honeymoon stage. So, you know, maybe in 3 years, like, you know, my relationship's like over a decade old or whatever. Like, so maybe when the real stuff hits, not the petty arguments or the silly stuff. Yeah. I definitely do think that I give Shep and Taylor some advice, because I do think there are, there's some sides of Shep that are like sort of similar to me, where he's maybe tortures himself a little bit, kind of a little bit hard on himself. And then he ends up projecting it onto Taylor.